softer than any night, a whisper of silver moonlight is dancing on your skin. Notes of green rolling. When I was your age, when I was in secondary school, I was absolutely obsessed with going onto YouTube and watching songwriters do interviews and talking about the way that they like to do it. And a lot of them would tell you this is the way you should do it. Only write when you're inspired. Other people would tell you you need to write songs every day, all the time. You need to write to a set structure and follow that structure. And I found it a bit confusing with all of this is what you should do. And I've come to realise that if there's so many different opinions, then you really have to form your own. You really have to decide whether you want to wait to be inspired to write a complete song or whether you're going to sit down and tell yourself to do it. Personally, I do a wee bit of both, but I do think the idea of writing to a set structure is really powerful, because you essentially become your own collaborator because so many decisions are made for you. You will rearrange your nest any place that suits you best. Sing a song you've never heard. Oh, to be a bird. Songwriting is all about making choices all the time. That's constantly what you're doing. How should this bit of melody go? How should the words fit here? And it's one of those funny things where you can't choose when you suddenly are going to feel inspired. Like, you can't go on Uber Eats and order some tasty inspiration to your door. If you could, that would be wonderful. But one thing you can do is be prepared for when you feel inspired. Personally, I've sat down to write songs when I felt really inspired, and I've sat down to write songs when I very much didn't. And both times I've written things that I think are quite bad, and both times I've written things that I quite liked. So you never know what's going to happen if you sit down to write. It is good to force yourself to write every day. I think there's this image that people have of songwriters as these really deep people who feel things so intensely and want the world to know how they're feeling. But that's not always true. Sometimes songwriters might not be the type of people who are going to talk about how they're feeling. Maybe they find it easier to sing, or maybe you'd rather sing about other people. It's all totally valid. Taking sleepless chances till sunlight's probing glances weave me in velvet untorn. If you think about it, songs have been written for thousands of years, and a lot of the time it's about the same things. It's about love, it's about feeling happy, feeling sad, and if you want to write an effective song, you've got to put your own twist on it, which is what we're all about. So if you have to think about music in a different way, like I do, that's actually can be a huge positive. You will rearrange your nest any place that suits you best. Sing a song you've never heard. Oh, to be a bird. So one thing I would say to you is, if you've ever written something and you think to yourself that it's absolutely rubbish, don't get rid of it, because the haiku I wrote about a bird was not very good, if I'm honest with you. But then one day I was flicking through my notebook and I found it, and it led on to this. So if you write something that isn't very good, it may come in so handy in future, and there may be something in there that's actually incredible that you didn't spot the first time that you saw it. And there's also lots to learn from writing a bad song. If you write something you don't like, think about why you don't like it, and then you can avoid making the same mistakes next time.
I thought it was amazing, really informative. Picked up loads of skills and just loads of really useful information that we can take away.
I liked it because it just kind of brought that idea of, here's where you can get inspiration from, and those kind of ideas and how they can be placed into your head through just everyday life.
It was really good.
Loads of good tips and tricks.
Definitely learned some stuff.
I quite like the refrain structure because I find it really helpful to like take away and use it in like composition skills.
Lavender and fire.